How many of you are fans of the series of Game of Thrones? I am. And if you're a fan of the series, you've probably looked or read the books A Song of Ice and Fire, written by George R.R. Martin. They're amazing. I highly recommend it. After reading these books, though, I noticed many recurring themes and character traits that I saw in many other books that were taken in the same place as Game of Thrones, like Death of King Arthur, Beowulf, and Yvain. The main theme that I saw was choosing between realm and family, which was huge in medieval times. It even meant the place between life and death. So, I'm not saying George R. R. Martin copied, but I do think he had a little too much inspiration from these and decided to create his own story, which good for him. He is extremely successful now, and Game of Thrones is awesome. So, we begin our story way down here in King's Landing, where Robert Baratheon, King of Westeros, heads his way all the way up here to Winterfell, way up north, and King's Landing is way down south. Very long road, very long time. I heard it takes like a month to get there on foot. Sucks. So Robert is going up there to talk to his dear friend Ned to be his new Hand of the King, because his old hand, Jon Arryn, unfortunately died and Rob needs a new hand. So he picks Ned. Ned has to say yes because it's his king and it's his duty to the realm. Ned is also Warden of the North and Lord of Winterfell, so he's already very high in everything and he has to go, choosing realm above his family. So we see that as theme through this text, Yvain. So Yvain fought to win a beautiful wife, and he just stays in his kingdom with his wife until his cousin Gawain comes and he's like, dude, come on, we gotta go fight in tournaments because you're losing all your honor. And Yvain's like, oh, duh, of course. So Yvain goes. Of course, Ned's is a little bit more different because he has to go, and Yvain's just like, okay, whatever. And they both choose realm over family, which obviously doesn't work because they both end up dead. So we see this theme again in Cersei and Jaime Lannister. So we see that Cersei is very high up because she is married to Robert, but unfortunately Robert dies, God rest his soul. But Cersei is also in love with her twin brother Jaime. So we see this mirrored effect in The Death of King Arthur with Arthur and his sister Morgan. And they're not twins, but they are in love. And they both, Jaime and Cersei and Morgan and Arthur, create children. Morgan and Arthur create Mordred, and Cersei and Jaime create Joffrey. And Mordred and Joffrey are both very, very evil characters, and they get pleasure out of the pain of others. They're just full of hatred, hate everyone. So clearly this is an exact replica from Game of Thrones to The Death of King Arthur. Go George R. R. Martin, I like your story better. So the next thing we see with The Death of King Arthur and Jaime and Cersei is the love between Lancelot and Guinevere, and Jaime and Cersei again. We see Lancelot is Jaime and Cersei again is Guinevere because Jaime was basically right hand of Robert and Lancelot was right hand of Arthur. Lancelot screws Arthur's wife. Jaime screws Robert's wife. Big deal. So another time we see this is with Jon Snow, bastard of Ned Stark. And Jon chooses to go to the Wall instead of stay home in Winterfell. Of course, he never had a home in Winterfell because Catelyn Stark would never let him forget that he was a bastard. So we see the same thing in Beowulf, where Beowulf chooses to go to Hrothgar and serve King Hrothgar and fight the demon Grendel. And Jon goes to the Wall expecting to fight all these White Walkers, blah blah blah. to save his realm. So, which is why Beowulf goes to Hrothgar to help his realm. As we can see, a lot of the themes from Game of Thrones are taken from a lot of other medieval texts, making them so unoriginal, and it makes me so sad. The theme choosing between realm and family was so huge in Game of Thrones, but I would like all of you to go out and read texts like Death King Arthur and Beowulf and Yvain to see the similarities between Game of Thrones and them, because I believe that it will open your eyes to so much more and expose you and make you so much more aware and understand Game of Thrones so much. I could go on for days about this, but thank you for watching my speech.